First time you take off, you gotta push the I believe button.
I fell in love with aviation at 4 years old. My dad took me to an air show, and I got to watch the Blue Angels fly for the very first time.
This year, we're bringing 5 new people into this team. Something I never thought was actually gonna happen.
It's 1 in a million.
We only have 3 months to get to a point where we can take it on the road.
It can be frustrating at times. The challenge is to get the newbies up to speed, and that can be scary. When you're flying 12 inches apart, everybody's lives are in each other's hands.
It's an eye-opener for how inherently dangerous this job is.
Ready, roll, hat.
Every once in a while, the jets just kind of freeze, and the world around you seems to spin.
To make 6 jets fly as one, that's the Blue Angel magic.
Really exciting.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yeah.
So I thought that when you shoot for IMAX, you have to use these massively, insanely expensive cameras that are pre-approved by IMAX.
That's right. Yes. So the very beginning, when this project was announced, it was going to be under the umbrella of Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams, and Glenn Powell, who was the actor who was played the bad guy in the Maverick film. I think Maverick had maybe just come out, but there was that extreme delay over COVID, so everybody was really excited about it. And this project came along, and I remember in Variety, it said, right at the first sentence, it said, "From the cockpit." And so, yeah, of course, my first question was, how are we going to get IMAX-approved cameras in the cockpit of this documentary? This was a situation where, we couldn't ask the Navy's flight team to do anything that they weren't scheduled to do as part of their practice or their training or their demonstrations. We just had to be there, hopefully in the right place at the right time. And so thus began a whole lot of testing and more testing. Several different candidates, they were called the cockpit camera candidates. We were shooting on Sony Venice as our primary A camera, but unlike the Maverick film, we couldn't actually put Venices inside their cockpits. So I had to come up with something that was, almost foolproof. I had to be able to hand a camera to maybe a public affairs officer within the team that was going to then hand it off to one of the maintenance chiefs that was going to make sure it got into the pilot's jet. And then the pilot themselves would affix them inside their cockpit wherever I sort of instructed maybe they put it, or just whatever they could get away with on that given day. So we had, I did try that RX2 that Sony makes, but the battery power, focal length, the menus inside that little tiny box were just maddening, and there was no way that got kicked to the curb real quick. I worked with Michael here at Insta360, and we tried a variety of things. We did manage to get the actual 360 cameras in the cockpit several times, and there's even a few shots inside the canopy where we are literally panning inside and seeing what the pilot sees when he or she looks over their shoulder at their fellow pilots. But the main camera that we shot for this film was the 1RS. And I came to the 1RS really because, several reasons. 5.7K, 5.3, that's right, 5.3K, 16:9, aspect ratio, kind of fit the bill because this was going to finish in that frame size, you didn't have to deliver 4:3 in the IMAX way. The best thing about that setup for me personally was, with any kind of gadget camera, action camera, I always find its tell is that high shutter speed. Oftentimes we're outdoors in full sunshine, and you really always notice that high shutter. That's how it's compensating for its exposure, right? So the best thing about the 1RS, besides its Leica glass lensing on the front, actual glass and not plastic, were the ND filter options. I don't even know, do we have one of those on the floor?
That camera is
No more.
is a little bit old school now.
It's old.
Yeah.
How fast we grow. Anyway, it became the workhorse. I was able to make a judgment on exposure based on cloudy or sunny days and, adjust the aperture, adjust the ND according to the conditions, and then set my auto balance, my white balance at auto, pretty much, and then was able to set, a filmic shutter speed, like 1/50th, 1/60th of a second, which I hope lends to all that footage being able to cut seamlessly with our Sony Venice, which were all under those like 180-degree shutter feelings. And, as it's all getting cut together, whether it's from inside the cockpit, from the ground to the air, from air to air, we were fortunate to get lots of helicopter filming done. And we were able to mount one of the 1RSs also to the belly of the plane under the number 1 jet. When they fly in formation, the number 1 jet is his boss, he's in front, and he has a look-back camera. The Navy had splurged years ago on a GoPro 4 housing that they had underneath the jet from time to time, and that's how they would use that film for studying and stuff. But we just had the Navy machine one specifically for the 1RS and the ND filter, so we could take that one flying all the time. So yes, unfortunately at the time, the Insta360 true 360 capture didn't kind of get past IMAX specs, although like I said, we did sneak a few shots in there, and they're really exciting. I can only wish we had that X4 available now with its 8K capture, so we could really get some dynamic footage inside the cockpit.
Or even the Ace Pro.
Maybe, yeah. So the 1RS became the workhorse, and we just managed to get those into the jet as much as possible. So it became just a very sort of frequent thing, The Navy is all about like procedure, and if anything's out of order, it kind of can throw everybody off. But after a few months, we got really the hang of it. Can I play this again? Just
I was
without
just
the
gonna
audio?
ask. I was just gonna ask if you could do that, because the next question is so the matching on all of the shots, whether it's exteriors or interiors, looks really good. So you essentially then took a pocket-sized action camera and matched it with a Sony Venice in post.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the cockpit footage, obviously, it takes all of it. It takes the cockpit, it takes the ground to air, it takes shots of the crowd, cutaways, it takes everything to kind of create this environment of what it's like up there and what it might feel like, or certainly what it looks like. So, amazing. I mean, I think it's seamless, the cockpit stuff. And I remember early on we were having discussions about close focus and whether that was going to be an issue, and because I think that camera particularly had a limit to its close focus, but we never had any issues. And fun fact, the flow state technology that's in these cameras really is so impressive. I needed to use it a few times when these guys would always get police escorts to wherever they were filming or wherever they were flying. And I did a sequence putting these cameras on the police escort as well, and needed the flow state then when you've got a machine barreling down on the ground, on Earth. But in the air, I was able to really turn the flow state off and get that true 5.3K capture, which I think probably helps in the overall resolution kind of matching puzzle.
So 10 to 15% of the shots that were in this trailer were all inside the cockpit.
Yeah.
10% of the shots. And those are all shot on 1RS.
That's right.
For IMAX.
For IMAX, yes.
It's crazy.
I know. We did, there probably were moments that were less,
Studio or cinema camera, or when should you be looking at some of these smaller cameras?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you just have an impossible situation. Of course, I would have preferred.
Through the clouds, feel the fury in the skies. Fighter jets flying high, supersonic speeds they ride. Navy's on a mission, showing off their might. Dropping bombs like thunder in the dark of the night. Adrenaline rushing as they soar above the sea. Fearless pilots fighting for their liberty. The horizon's the playground, they dance with gravity. Through the storm they go like warriors in harmony. Fury in the skies, the Navy's roar so loud. Feel the power as their wings take them proud. Through the danger they dare to fly. In the vast ocean, where the dreams touch the sky. On the deck of steel giants, they stand ready to embrace the call of duty, honor bound, their courage none can erase. Blue angels take flight with precision, grace and might. Their wings paint the heavens in a symphony of light. Aircraft carriers, floating fortresses amidst the endless blue. Their decks alive with purpose as they launch the chosen few. Brave hearts take to the skies in machines of steel and fire.